Hello everybody, my name is Marcus and I'm a fibre artist from Scotland, and today I'm going to be making a dog bed with some waste materials, and I thought I would take you along with me and see how it turns out. So the materials that I'm going to be using today are, I've got a whole bunch of, this is some 4-ply merino nylon sock yarn, and it's it's the end of cones. So I use cones when I'm making self-striping yarn. I wind from the cone, and the skeins I make are 100 grams. So each of those cones is about is 1 kilo, but I always overshot the skeins when I'm winding them, so you know they're typically like 105 grams or so. So what means is that I get 9 100-gram skeins, and then I have leftovers. So there's not enough to make a full skein of yarn, and these just kind of pile up because the yarn is perfectly usable, just not for 100-gram skeins. I do sometimes do 50-gram, not very often, but yeah, so I'll be using that for the warp, and for the weft I have a whole bag here of clothes that my dog has selected these for her new bed, and she selected these by destroying all of them. Yeah, going through the puppy stage, there was a lot of clothes that got destroyed, and I mended what I could, but most of this is t-shirts which they don't mend very well. It's cheap materials. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do to save it once a puppy's got a hold of it. So let's get started with warping my loom. So today I'm going to be using a 7.5 DPI heddle, which is better suited for double net weight yarn, but I'm going to be holding 2 strands of the 4-ply, and the reasoning for that is I just think it might make it a little bit more secure, because this is going to be a dog bed, it's likely that it's going to get chewed, so if there's 2 strands it might make it a little bit stronger than if it was just one. Who knows? So to prep my warp, I've taken apart some of the clothing, and I'm just cutting it into strips. I'm not worrying too much about the width, some of them are a lot thicker than this, and I'm just cutting little holes at the end of each strip. Yep, you can see that there. And then I've got a little ball going here of some strips. I'm trying to not... I have a lot of black clothes. I knew I wore a lot of black, but this has made me realise just how much black I wear. So I'm trying to kind of put kind of different coloured fabrics in between the black, just so it's not, just to break it up a little bit. But so all I'm doing is, with the two ends of the two different pieces of fabric, I'm just feeding one through one hole and then feeding that same strip through the same hole. And then that's pretty secure. I have seen people sewing the strips of fabric together, but that's just a bit too much. You know, this is a scrappy project. It just seems like an unnecessary thing to do. There is like a lump, and like, you know, you can feel that lump, but it's a rag rug dog bed. My dog's not going to mind. So after I finished weaving with the strips of fabric, I just done maybe 10 picks or so of just the merino nylon yarn that I used for warp. This was just to give it a kind of cleaner edge for when I was going to be sewing up the blanket at the end. And here I'm just doing some hem stitch. I really enjoy doing hem stitch. It's quite meditative in a way. But yeah, for some reason I never get bored doing hem stitch, although it's quite a repetitive, monotonous thing. For whatever reason, I find it really, really soothing going through and doing the hem stitching. I know some people do hem stitching differently. I myself don't always do it this way. For this one I'm doing 2 warp threads along and 2 weft threads down. but sometimes I'll do 3 and 3. I don't really have any preferred way of doing it. That's just the way that I decided to do it on the day. So that is the rag rug taken off of the loom. I'm really happy with it. I think I've kind of spaced the colours out enough so that it's not just like solid black. Because although this is like a functional thing, I want it to look okay. You can see some of the ends, but I'll kind of poke them in later on to the inside. So in length, it is 225 centimetres, which is about 88 inches. And then in width, it's about 75 centimetres, which I think is maybe 30 inches, maybe just under 30 inches. I did do the maths, but I forgot. Yeah, so next up, I'm going to pop it into the washing machine. All of the t-shirts have been washed several times, so I don't anticipate that it will shrink in the way much. If it does shrink, it'll maybe be down the way with the kind of woolen warp, but even then it's been packed pretty densely. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm going to get this washed and then we'll see where we are after that. So the rag rug dried overnight. It dried quite easily. I thought it might take ages because of all the kind of bunched up fabric, but it dried fine. And then I folded it in half, and I just quickly stitched along the 3 sides, and it's finished. It's a good size and it does have a fair amount of squish. It is quite thick, so I think it'll be quite comfy for the dog. So all that's really left is to see what she thinks of it and see if she destroys it within 30 seconds. What do you think, Juno? Do you like your new bed? I mean, it does actually look kind of small. Juno, look. Yeah, it could maybe be a little bit longer for her actually. That will do. This isn't going to be her main bed. This is more something to have in my office. Well, me or my partner's home office. It's just something for her to kind of rest on during the day. My kind of thought is it will just give her like her own little space, because I think sometimes she doesn't really know what to do when she's upstairs in the room with us. And she's decided to drag it along the floor, as to be expected. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little project. I don't know. Yeah, I'll maybe update you to see how she takes to the new bed. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.